Merry meet guys, and welcome to my channel. Tonight, like I said in my last video, I wanted to get back on YouTube and make content. And I had a thought while I was frantic about my car, about tonight's topic the topic of this video, which is the spirit of things. So Druidry calls it animism. Believing that everything has a spirit, whether it be inanimate or animate object, like an animal, a plant, to the house, the car, a stone, a doll, things like that. So I want to talk how I believe things are animated with spirits, like if it's an inanimated object, and how I believe that we can interact with them. How I believe, just my beliefs on the topic at whole. So I know that could have, in the beginning, the animism, that could be something totally different. I remember studying it when I first started, and there are some things that still hold true when it comes to believing that everything has a spirit. There's some things you don't want to think about that have a spirit, that have a spirit of its own. There's some things you just don't want to think about. But believing that a house has a spirit, that it has a personality, that your car has a personality, that your glasses has a personality, that they bring about a certain change in you because of the personality they have. It doesn't always have to be like that. I mean, it could be like, well, since I was talking about my car, I'll tell you a little backstory of it. So a week ago, before I got my new job, it was a Saturday, not my last Saturday, but the Saturday before, that I was freaking out a little bit because I left work. The car was fine. I went to go stop at Publix to get something for Nate, my partner, and I got back in the car. I was kind of frantic. I felt tired because, I just worked an 8.5-hour shift, and I went to go get my phone out of my pocket, and this little pop socket thing, the little, thing to hold your phone, I have a Ravenclaw one, and that piece popped out when it came out of my pocket. So it flew under my seat. So I was kind of irritated. I was like, you know what, I'll just wait till I get home to get it. And so I got in the car, and I cranked the car up. I was already in the car. I cranked the car up, and I look over at my dash because it's in the center. That's how I'm able to create videos with you, me right there at my steering wheel. My speedometer is over in the middle. Scions are awesome. All of a sudden, I look over and my check engine light's on, which means my required maintenance light is on, and my VSC is on, which is vehicle stability control. So I didn't have any traction control, which is not a problem. My tires were fine. They're good for about another year, maybe half a year, depending on travel time. So I was like, okay, I'm freaked out because, it's a week before I start this new job, and if my car goes in, if my car goes under, I'm going to freak out. And so I got home. I talked to my dad to let him know. He's like, well, just go get a diagnostic at an auto parts store, see what the code's saying, and then we'll go about it from there and then get an estimate. I did. I got the diagnostic, and it was something I've never heard of. Oh, I know of it now, but it was a camshaft gear. And I was like, okay, well, I'll call the dealership Monday and see if I can get an estimate. Well, I called Monday, and of course they gave me a million reasons why it could be something totally different. I understand. There's many things that can pull up that same code in the car. I was like, you know what? I have tomorrow off, so I will go tomorrow. But when I called Monday, the weird thing is, I turned the car on Monday morning, and the check engine light was off. I didn't go anywhere Sunday, so I let my car rest. And I was like, okay. So Monday, it wasn't on, so I wasn't really frantic. And it didn't come on the rest of the week. Now, Saturday night, I was hanging out with my friend. She came into town, and at the end of our hangout, I noticed that my check engine light was on, which wasn't bad. We weren't driving around like crazy. We just went to IHOP, and I dropped her back off at the hotel she was staying at with their son. My check engine light was on. I was like, you know what, I'm not going to worry about it. I'll go in if I have to Monday or Tuesday and see what's going on. if it's actual a thing. So Monday when I went into work, a new job, it was off. It wasn't on. Or no, Monday it was on. Tuesday it was off. And it's been off since. But when I crank up, instead of having a blue light that my liquids are cool, it's been red. So I was like, okay, there's still something wrong. It's going to be kind of a long story. I'm sorry. And so today is Wednesday. Yesterday night, I bought coolant at Walmart when I got some groceries. And I was like, you know what, tonight I'm going to put the coolant in and see if that's the problem. So I got home, waited about 2.5 hours for my engine to cool down. And I opened it up, and I poured the coolant in. Well, the coolant filled up all the way up to the top. I didn't even pour in not even a quarter of the bottle. I hardly poured in any at all. So I was like, well, it's not the coolant. So I was like, what can this be? And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to try the oil dipstick. I'm going to see how much oil we have. So I pulled it out, cleaned it off, stuck it back in, pulled it back out again, and it was empty. I was like, son of a bitch. So I rushed up to the parts store again, and I just got a quart of oil, and I poured it in there, and my engine drank it up happily. So I'm hoping by tomorrow morning that my car will, I let it run for a good 5 minutes after I poured the oil in, just so it could lubricate everything. And then when I got inside, I was thinking to myself that, you know what, my car tried to warn me with the light Saturday. Maybe it's pulling that weird code, but something else was wrong, the camshaft still could be bad, but I think it was my car giving me a warning that something was wrong. It's not the first time my car's done this. My car does have a personality of its own, and it does have a name. I'm not telling my name on Facebook, or on YouTube, sorry. But that kind of got me into the topic of talking about objects that have spirits, that they're not necessarily attached, that they've grown themselves. I feel that my car might have had a personality before I got it, but I believe that it came more alive when I got it. Because I think when, I really don't want this to sound really pompous, but witches, pagan practitioners, magical practitioners of any path, I don't know if you witch or not, when they hold on to something or they have emotion and channel emotion into something, which I'm in that car singing my heart out, getting angry at traffic. I am just waking up in the morning, trying to drive to work. I am picking up groceries. I am traveling. I'm making memories and pouring emotion into the car. Getting frustrated when it breaks down, taking care of it as much as I can. And my car's kept up to date. Nothing else is wrong with it. Not that I know of. I will eventually, if the light comes back on and stays on, then I will go get that checked out. But as of right now, it was not on this morning. It hasn't been, so knock on wood. Have something went over there. But I do believe us as magical practitioners, we bring certain inanimate objects to life. They get a spirit of their own. I do believe, thinking about how, to any other person, they will just see the inanimate object and they won't sense the personality behind it. Just like a crystal, labradorite crystal. No two crystals are the same. There may be some crystals that, 2 rose quartzes or 2 citrines you put side by side, but one could have a different personality than the other. Depends on the spirit of the crystal. Also, I do believe that a tarot deck, that if you've used it so much, it builds a personality of its own. I've had tarot decks tell me off. Tell me that I've done something horribly wrong and I should fix it. I've had oracle decks do the same thing. Now, I believe that no oracle deck, even though the imagery, of course, is different, I also believe they hold different spirits. They all have different personalities. And I think any reader of cards would agree. You might not, but I feel that you would. Just as working with magical tools in our practice gives the tool of spirit, gives it an essence, breathes life into it. That's another way to put it. Whether it be man-made or made by nature and furnished by man. I do believe that being a witch, we see things in a different way than, I guess, mundanes do. No mages or muggles or however you want to call them. There's a spirit, like, it gives the word spirit of home a new meaning when you're a pagan. You don't just, you pay homage to it for its protection. You build a relationship with it. And when you move, you release yourself from it so it has a fresh start. And you can also bless it for the new owners. Also think spirits, that are imbued in magical jewelry or magical tools, like a wand or an athame or a crystal ball, or I just said crystals, or any kind of item or book or statuary can be imbued with spirit if you work with it long enough to breathe it alive. So I hope that kind of makes sense. I did have kind of like a general idea of what I wanted the video to be about, kind of how I wanted to talk about it. Different things having different personalities and having a spirit of their own, but I did kind of go off track. I know it's in many traditions to give an inanimate object's life or spirit. You breathe into it. I know that's in hoodoo. I believe voodoo as well. I know it's in brucherie, which is a awesome style of witchcraft, I think. It's one of my favorites. I'm studying that from Silver Rainwolf. She had a 4-part class online on how she works brucherie and powwow. I love that system of magic, so it was really cool. I think the breath of life is extremely symbolic, and it doesn't really have to be, it can be. You can blow onto an object with the intention to bring that object to life, but I think, like with the car, I didn't blow on it to make it alive. I imbued it with my emotions, my energy, and it became alive. There's been more than one time that my car has done something funny and saved me, or stopped me from going a certain way where, there was an accident up ahead. I know this sounds really cliche, that all the Hollywood things, but it happens. And it's really weird to have like the spirit relationship with your car, to build a partnership with your car. I think it's important to. You can always, I know a lot of witches who name their cars, and I was thinking of some ideas on how I could incorporate, his name into a sigil for protection to keep him empowered and protected, to make sure I go unnoticed by the cops when I have a lead foot, or to make sure that I am seen by those who try to pull out in front of traffic, So yeah, a lot of things you can do and a lot of things you can learn by working with the spirit of a particular item, like the spirit of an oracle deck or a spirit of your own creation that you plant into a doll, or spirit of your car, spirit of your home, of the land. Getting to know the spirits around you, I believe, is a great first step to any kind of spirit work. Also working with your ancestors, because they loved you. If they didn't, then don't call them in. If you had abusive ancestors that passed on, they were abusive to you, don't bring that energy back into your life. But the ancestors that loved you. They're more than happy to help. All you have to do is ask. Build a relationship with them. You can give them offerings if you want to. You can talk to them. That's my offering, is I talk to them, mental thoughts, listen to music they would listen to, sing. A lot of my ancestors were musically inclined. So I sang, I jam out to music. So yeah, so I think this video has gone on long enough. I had an interesting topic to begin with, and I kind of fizzled out in the end because I'm really, really, really tired, and there's a storm coming outside, and so I don't want to lose power. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will be back soon, whether it be for a book review. I do have a couple that I should finish, but probably haven't. There's a lot of books and tarot decks and oracle decks that I need to review on here. So I'll probably come back for another episode of The Book Witch and some more content, some random and personal and whatever I feel like it. So hope you guys have a great time until I see you next time. Many blessings.